In this video, I'm going to share with you how to recover a sprained ankle fast. And this can be a freshly sprained ankle or anywhere from weeks to even months where the ankle just doesn't feel fully recovered. There might be some scar tissue in there or lack of mobility, even some pain. So we're going to really work through that today. I'm going to be showing you a full routine, and you don't need really any equipment other than a rolled up towel for the fascia decompression position. But that's all you need. You don't need any fancy equipment. This has been a very highly requested video for me to do. My TikTok community has been literally commenting like crazy on a long form video. I've had millions of views on my TikToks showing how to recover a sprained ankle. So here you are, this is a longer form video, and I hope this helps. Before I elaborate on any more information or protocols to follow, I'm not a doctor, so if you've severely sprained or injured your ankle, of course, go see medical help if that's something that you're wanting to do. So carrying on, the first thing that happens when you injure your body or you sprain an ankle is what? Your body sends inflammation there. All inflammation is directed blood flow to a certain area because it's your natural body's response to send healing to that area, and blood is healing. We have to carry out the old damage, that car accident that just happened in your ankle, take that away, but then fill it in with the new blood. And that's what's going to be healing the injured site. So then this leads to, should you be icing your sprained ankle or your injury? Or should you be following the RICE technique, which is rest, ice, compression, elevation? The answer is you can follow certain protocols of this, you can do whatever you want, but what I would recommend is you don't want to actually ice an injury. And the reason why is because you're slowing down the inflammation. Sure, it feels good, it might help with the pain a little bit, but the body sent that inflammation there for a reason. So why are we trying to prevent our body's natural reaction to healing? So I'm going to be showing you the movements, then fascia decompression techniques. Again, you'll just need a rolled up towel for this, no other tools or bands or any fancy equipment. And then we're going to do a review of what you can do. So let's get started with the first exercises that you should be following. The first exercise we're going to do is start creating some circles and movement in this area. So I actually shattered this ankle, and by following a lot of these protocols, I was able to be walking out of my cast within 4 weeks when they told me I was going to be in a cast for 3 months. First thing we're going to do is 10 circles in one direction with the injured ankle, and do this nice and slow while following your breath. So remember, oxygen is very healing. It's the #1 essential nutrient our body requires. So make sure you're breathing through this process. At any point, if it's too painful, then ease off or do less of them and just integrate more rest. So 10 circles in one direction, and then we're gonna do 10 circles in the other direction, rest. Now to bring that to the next level, now let's start moving the ankle in different directions. So a fun way of doing this is just the ABCs with your foot. So literally try creating an A, then a B, but you can see all these different movements I'm already doing with my ankle without applying pressure. So once you've completed the ABCs with your foot, allow that to rest. And now when you feel like you can take this to the next step, all we're gonna do is stay seated like this. Now let's slowly start applying some pressure into that ankle. And it might be really tender, so the pressure is really dependent on you and your breath. But now let's start creating some, we'll call these calf raises. Nice and slow. You don't even have to lean on it. You can just start off here. We're gonna come up, and this is all we're gonna do. Exhale on the way up, inhale on the way down. You don't have to do these fast. And then just to make this a little bit more challenging, start applying some pressure and then doing this. You'll notice and feel that resistance right away. So try doing 10 repetitions, rest, and do that 3 times in total. Next thing we want to do is apply pressure to that ankle while we're actually standing. So maybe you haven't even applied pressure to the ankle yet. So have majority of your weight on your good ankle, and then nice and slow, just slowly start to apply pressure into the bad ankle, into the injured ankle. And now let's hold this for about 5 to 10 breaths. And you can gradually add more pressure as you stay here. So we're not bouncing or jumping on it or doing calf raises. Literally all we're doing is just applying pressure. Doing this, we're still firing up these little muscles to start activating them, these tendons, the ligaments, to start, again, creating a little bit more strength and stability. So a lot of these tendons and ligaments just got stretched, and we also want to start creating some strength to them as well. So then you can get to the point where you're literally balancing on this one foot. And if you're doing this, make sure that you are gripping with your arch. We want to make sure that the foot is strong and we're not collapsing at the arch and having a flat foot. So try to envision that you're shortening between your heel and your big toe like this. Now you're not curling your toes. All you're doing is trying to squeeze the mat, or if there is a towel underneath, to become shorter. So you're creating that natural arch. And then once you have that stabilized, then nice and slow, you can start balancing. This alone is going to do wonders for your ankle, because now you have to stay balanced. And then at any time, if this is too much, just come back down to your other foot and then just gauge that pressure. You're fully in control of this. So now what we want to do is to create more circular motions while applying pressure into the ankle. So you can either be seated or standing for this. But let's start off by having the heel on the floor, just like this. And then we're going to rotate, pretend there's a ball here, and you're rotating around the ball to the left and then to the right. So you're creating these circular motions as your heel's on. And then, of course, you can stand up and you can do that same thing and apply a little bit more pressure, just like this. Your range of motion might be limited, and that's okay. It's only going to improve the more you do this and the more that it starts to heal. Next thing we're going to do is the opposite of this, more weight on the ball of your foot. And now we're going to do the same thing. Pretend there's a ball underneath your heel and your arch, and you're trying to rock around it like this. Nice and slow. And again, try to do 10 repetitions on each side, rest, do that 3 times. And that's pretty much the formula for all of these exercises that I'm showing. Another critical thing that we need to do is start releasing the connective tissue, the tight muscles, all within here, because there might have been some scar tissue that has developed. So we want to start applying the pressure with this towel. I'm going to be bringing you through these positions so that we can start releasing adhesions to promote more blood flow to this area and then help create more mobility at the same time. So let's jump in, and we're going to start with these fascial decompression positions. So the first position, we're going to be working on the calf, and this can be anywhere from the top of the calf all the way to the Achilles. So you can actually work this entire length if you would like. And again, all you need is a rolled up towel, make it nice and compact like this, and let's get started. I have a pillow here. Now, the reason why, I obviously don't need this right now, but your ankle might need this extra cushioning. And all we're going to be doing is position the towel nice and high up to start, right in the crease here. So you will also feel this in your hamstring, but that's good. We're working in the calf and the hamstring and just improving more flow all the way here. So think of a deep tissue massage, but on steroids. This is kind of this position here. And all we're going to do, I have my leg up like this. You don't need it. You can have it by your side. We're going to slowly start applying and building pressure in this area. So as you're doing this, 2 rules of thumb. One is being, as long as you're breathing, you're going to help promote and send more blood and oxygen to this area. Second one being, you got to spend a minimum of 3 minutes in a position, or else you're not really going to get as much benefit. You can spend longer if you would like. That is up to you. Let's start applying and building that pressure, and you'll be feeling pain here. The calves are very dense and they're very locked. So that's why it's so important to work in this area. Now connect to your breath. As you inhale, we want to be breathing through the diaphragm. Expand your belly and your rib cage. As you exhale, make the belly nice and small and make the rib cage smaller. So that's accessing the diaphragm. If you're breathing through the muscles in your upper chest, that's not the optimal way to breathe. So once you settle in, the pressure will start to take away that pain. So you might be able to build up more pressure, and that's good. You want to do that. So now let's connect to the breath. And what you can do is now start to slowly move to one direction. So you might want to search to the left, hang out here for about a minute or so, and then you can come back to neutral. And then for another minute, you can search on over to the right side. We generally want to follow the pain. So if there's more pain in an area, spend time there. If this is too painful and you can't breathe in a controlled way, ease off and reconnect at a less intensity. So now once you spent about 3 minutes here, you can exhale up and off. And of course, you can work a little bit lower and then even into the Achilles. It might be more tender the closer you get to your foot. So again, do that as you will. Now we're going to be moving into another position here, and this is going to be focusing on the lateral portion of the calf. So we'll jump into that right away. The lateral portion of your calf all the way down to your ankle might feel really tense and bound. And we're gonna wanna start releasing this because a lot of these muscles go into spasm to try to help protect the ankle joint. But now we wanna start releasing that to promote more blood flow in this area. This will also help a ton with mobility. So similar to the back portion of the calf, on the lateral portion, you can work at the top all the way to the ankle. But let's start a little bit higher. And all we're gonna do is be on our left side, bring a left leg on top of the towel, your right leg on top of your left. And then you might not feel much pain, or you might feel a ton of pain. Everybody's unique and different on how dense we are. So then once you've settled in, you can slowly start to search again towards the front. And then you can spend a minute or so here. And then once you've done so, you can search towards the back. If you want to ramp this up, you can come on to almost like a side plank like this, and then start searching like this. Now we don't want to be moving fast, and don't try to view this as a foam roller, okay? A foam roller is going to stay more on the surface layers of tissue, where we want to stay connected isometrically to actually get deep and release those adhesions in our connective tissue and in our fascia. So once you spend a minimum of 3 minutes, nice and slow, you can exhale up and off. Then of course you can work a little bit lower towards the ankle if you'd like. So there's one more position that I'm going to show you now, which is going to be focusing more on the anterior tibialis position. And this is really going to help alleviate the pressure here so that it will help you actually raise your foot up. For this last position, we're going to have the towel positioned like this, horizontal to your body. And again, it's going to be looking just like this. Okay, you can start at the top, then you can work more towards the ankle as you will. And nice and slow, bring your left anterior tibialis to the towel like this. And what's great with the towel is like you can also search a little bit to the shin bone. There's a lot of adhesions there as well. But let's just start off more on that muscle, more on the tissue. It's almost like we're in that pigeon stretch. So now that you're here, let's just build up that pressure, and you're gonna feel quite a bit going on here. And then once you settled in, you can search, of course, more to the left, spend a minute or so here, and then to the right. Remember, you gotta be breathing through this process. Don't be holding your breath. If it's too painful, ease off and reconnect at a less intensity. So once you spent your 3 minutes here, you can exhale up and off. And then of course, you can work a little bit lower if you would like, and just keep working all the way to the ankle. This protocol, all in all, is gonna be very powerful for you to do. This fascia decompression technique is also very powerful. Now it's a little time consuming if you're adding up 3 positions times 3, which is about 9-10 minutes or so. That's going to take you to do it, but that's going to expedite the healing significantly. Now, you're going to start off with the movements and the positions I showed you. That's number 1. Number 2 is then you can start doing these positions I showed, but then you're going to want to come back and you can revisit this. So maybe if you've been, again, injured for a few weeks or a couple months or so, now let's start doing these movements and these techniques again. And I can already feel a bit of a release just from showing these positions in my ankle. So you're going to want to toggle between the exercises and this position, and that's going to give you the overall best benefit. So if you found this video helpful and you're actually noticing results, let me know in the comments below. Make sure you like this video, subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.